Hey, this is Ian,
This is Sim.
and today we're here to talk about the psychology behind professional development. And today's topic is luck is not a strategy. It's talking about
Yay.
networking versus gambling. I know, since in the spirit and honor of St. Patrick's Day,
Gosh.
and it's so funny because I honestly do luck as a strategy
Yeah.
because I am not the best with networking. And I think maybe sometimes networking is when you feel you have to do it versus doing it before you need to do it.
Networking has been like a dirty word for some time. It just doesn't feel right, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And I will say probably 8 out of 10 people have that same experience with networking. So I'm just going to go there and ask them for a job, right? And
Yes.
I hate going to a room and then, hey, I'm looking for a job or whatever that is. I feel like a salesperson.
Yeah. And maybe it's because of who we are. So, for example, our backgrounds are they're social causes based, right? It's
Yeah.
not, we weren't growing up in sales. Our jobs weren't growing up or working in sales. It was counseling,
Hmm.
social work, teaching. And these
Right.
are professions that aren't needing a sale to complete your business, right?
Yeah.
And I think maybe that's why, in my case, and probably yours as well, that networking is seen as that transactional relationship. And
Yes.
I think I heard somewhere a sportscaster, funny enough, saying that, make a friend before you need a friend.
I love that. I
You know?
love that. That's exactly right. Because most of us think about networking as a transaction. In,
Yeah.
make a friend before you need a friend. I love this. The example one of my old clients mentioned, it's like, Sim, I finally figured out what networking is and what I'm trying to do. Because I was going through the grocery line, picking up everything, and then I went through the checkout. I said hi to the person, and I said bye to the person, and then I gave them this, and then I left. And I said, yes, that is essentially a network, but that's how you do a poor networking job
Right. Right.
because that's transactional, right? And oftentimes when we think about networking, that's the image we have.
Oh,
I
totally.
go meet, give them something, and then I leave,
Right.
right?
Yes. Yes.
Transactional relation. It's not a relationship. Yes, you may go back to the same grocery store, might see the same person again, right? Or whatever venue you're at,
Right.
might see the same
Right.
person again. But if there's nothing other than thank you, hi, hello, how are you, thank you, goodbye, right? That's just a placeholder.
And I wonder, as we get older, if we see the networking, I put it in the mentality of a group of people, business card,
Hmm.
talking yourself up as to what you can do,
Yeah.
putting your best foot forward, and all these things where these concepts are things that I don't feel comfortable in doing because I don't feel that's really me,
Yeah,
right? I
me
mean,
too.
I have no, first of all, I don't have a business card, but,
Hmm.
more importantly, I just feel like time is better spent doing something else,
Hmm.
trying to accomplish the same thing
Yeah,
instead of a big room with a bunch of people that 90% are gonna forget your name, and the other
of course.
10%, if they remember your name, they probably want something out of it too. So maybe it's not this
See,
meaningful relationship. I
absolutely.
don't know.
And I think this is like I'll blame media for a bit,
Go ahead.
right? I'm gonna blame media because that's how networking is portrayed in
Mhm.
nearly every concept of the word.
Yeah,
But then there are people that are having relationships, right? Going out to coffee, doing other things that we don't get to see,
that's right.
right?
Yeah.
But when we say networking, the image is clear as day. You go to a
Oh,
room full
yeah.
of whole bunch of
Oh,
people
absolutely.
looking and doing, trying to get something out of somebody, right? And it feels like I just came from a vacation, right? It just feels like a market that you're going and shopping around. You have to bargain, you
Oh,
got to
god.
do all these things.
Yeah.
But that's what the media portrays, and that's not actually beneficial in the long term. Just going from a networking thing to another
Yeah.
and another and another. Why it is important to go into this networking market, right? So instead of spending an hour connecting with a whole bunch of people, you're going in and you're getting persons of interest,
Okay.
right? Just
Yeah.
like you're going to a food market, the grocery store. You don't go to the grocery store because So you can go walk through all the aisles and pick up a item from everywhere, right? You go to the grocery
I
store
might.
because you have a list of
I
something.
might. I'm not gonna lie to you. There are
Ah!
times I'm not gonna name any major stores because they
Yeah,
haven't sponsored us, but I will say
right.
that there has been one in particular where I can't go into
Mm.
because to your point, I'm just gonna hit every aisle. Even if I don't need
Yeah,
any of it,
yeah,
it's there. It's going to happen. It's going to happen, right? So but metaphorically about the networking, I can see it because,
yeah.
you're not gonna get probably a true
You're not.
connection in that with that mentality.
Yeah, yeah. You know, if you go into the networking event with your mentality, right? Of, hey, that one store, we're not going to name it, right? I'm just here to browse, right? That takes the pressure off.
Right,
I'm not here to meet my list or get on somebody else's list. I'm here because I really enjoy what's going through these ads, seeing what they
right.
have,
Yeah, yeah.
right?
And I just wonder if it comes from an
Yeah.
age perspective as well. So if you're just graduating college,
Hmm.
maybe there is more of a need for certain networking events because maybe you don't have as much of a social background or you don't
Yeah.
have as many connections in your
Yeah.
field because you're just graduating. And so maybe those network events that's maybe where they're geared towards. And like I said, maybe I am just biased or skeptical or cynical about networking events because I've been to many of them. And
You're so here's I don't know, maybe because I'm hungry or I need to go to the grocery store. All right. I'm just gonna go back to the grocery store analogy, I guess. Imagine going to the farmer's market, the big open field farmer's
yeah,
market,
yep,
right? Yeah. You go there because you don't have access to the supermarkets,
right,
maybe, right? Or you want that deal. You want the freshness or whatever that purpose is
right.
for going to the farmer's market. Then you go to a big chain grocery store. Maybe you go to a mom and pop grocery store,
Mm,
right? It becomes about access. So to your point, right, when we are young professionals, right, we don't have the connections to
yeah,
figure out where we need to go. So it's really impactful when we go to those markets first
that's right.
to see how it's done,
Yeah,
right? And then as you start growing out of your profession into your profession, then it's not a general networking event.
yeah,
It's a networking for profession X, whatever that is,
right.
right? And once you have that, then it's a conference for profession X, right? So the access becomes shorter and smaller, but you're also investing more, right? Going to a open networking event like the farmers market, you have access to so many things, right? As you're niching down into your profession, into your experience level, the cost of those, right, starts adding up,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Conference costs
yep,
more than a membership. And then if you
that's
do
right.
like training, personalized training, that costs more. But what you're doing is you have the opportunity to start networking within smaller
Yeah,
and smaller and more niche people.
yeah, yeah,
Now imagine this, right? You are in a room right now. I'm in a conference room of 10 chairs. Okay. If you're in a training with 10 chairs and you approach it with like, here's my card, here's my card, here's my card, call me sometime. That's not going to be the same impact
yeah.
as if you're in a marketing space of hundreds, if not thousands of people.
And you focus on the ones and I think at that point, you focus on the individuals who you want to connect with, who you want to network with. But that's to your point, that's more like a filter down process, right? You have to start
It's still
big
networking.
and then filter the funnel down process,
Hmm.
right? Where you know that this person is aligned with things you're looking at more than
Yeah.
just individuals that are there in the same room at the same time. Uh, you know,
Yeah.
my personal thing of networking is I'm a big proponent of just doing things one on one at
Hmm.
this point. And I
Yeah.
have now the mentality of I don't look at it as I'm doing this specifically to network. I'm doing this because this person seems to be saying or doing the things that I like and I want to get more
Yeah.
information from this individual. So I don't even
Yeah.
go to it as a networking perspective. I
I'm
look
going
at
to
it as
pause you
how
right
can I
there.
connect with that?
I'm going to pause you right there because you said so many key components of you already knew the person,
Right.
right? You already have vetted the person, right? Like what they're saying and I want to know more,
Right.
right? So you're targeting the person that you want to have this coffee one-on-one conversation with,
That's right.
right?
Yes.
How did you even get to knowing
Yeah.
of the person?
Sure. So that would seem more of maybe from a social media perspective. So if it's a
Mhm.
LinkedIn, if it is
Yeah,
Facebook, if it's maybe there was someone connected us in some way, shape, or fashion,
right.
then you follow up with that if you feel
Yep.
that they speak to you in
Yes.
in a certain way.
Yes.
But to your
And
point,
I want
that's
to pause you again.
it's funnel
Yeah,
again.
it is funneling, right?
Yeah.
And I wanted to pause you again because what you're doing is you're going from the LinkedIn, uh,
Mhm.
I guess, market, right,
Yeah.
with millions, billions of people on it, and then your network, who you've already surrounded yourself around, right, is your filtration system, right?
Yep.
And whoever they've liked, LinkedIn's algorithms like, yep, Ian might
Mhm.
have, right? So
Right.
essentially, you're going from
Right.
that meeting a lot of people to filtering down.
Yeah.
And then but when we think about networking, we think about the hundreds and thousands of
Oh,
people,
sure. Yeah.
right? And this is a trap that we often fall into when somebody says, you got to go network. We immediately think, I have to talk to 1,000, people just to see if we are in alignment, if we like each other, and this is where this, for me at least, the anxiety starts like, a lot of strangers having, 2-minute conversations. Oh, what do you do? Right.
Right.
It's not meaningful. It's transactional.
Well, also, I would think it's the timing. So, for example,
Mhm.
or the timing and or the objective. So, when are you networking and why are you networking? Are you
Right.
networking because you're out of a job and you need one?
Hmm.
Or are you networking because it just so happened you were researching something one day and all of a sudden you bumped into this individual online where it seems like this person is aligned with, the things that you're aligned with, the same North
Hmm.
Star as yourself. And then you're kind of getting more of a connection with this person or with other individuals when you don't really need to per se. There is no
Yeah.
pressure to say, I
No
have to
pressure.
meet somebody so I can
Right.
get a job. So I think that if you
Yeah.
remove that component
Yeah.
of having to network because you're looking for a job, I think you are changing the objective of why you're networking. So
Mhm.
since there's not as much stress or pressure, then it
Right.
becomes a more meaningful connection because you're talking about things that really aren't job seeking related. You're talking about,
Yes.
you both like certain things, you both believe in certain things, and that's
Right.
where you can form like more of a trusting relationship and a little
Yeah.
more. And maybe from there, then they can start connecting and they get to know you as a person.
Absolutely. And I think this goes back to the quote that you quoted from a
Yeah,
sports anchor or something, right? Make friends before you need friends.
that's right. Yeah.
When you're already in that atmosphere of, again, for some reason, I'm going back to the grocery store in
You're just kind of
today's
hungry. I don't
episode.
know.
Maybe I am. Maybe I am. Um, like when I go grocery shopping and I'm hungry, right?
Yeah,
I'm gonna pick up a whole bunch of things that I don't need
that's right.
because I'm already in that level of hunger, anxiety of like, I need to feed myself and so on. Right. And that comes out not just in the grocery store, in a interaction. If you are feeling desperate, right, in your job search or whatever that is, you're going to even if you try not to, it's going to come out one way or another when you're trying to talk to people. And they're gonna
Yes.
see your intent
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
immediately.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because you approach it differently.
Yeah.
You're putting on, and I wouldn't go so far as saying a desperation front, but I will say is that because your objective is changing, your mentality is focusing on the objective you need to reach.
Yeah.
So you're going to be putting a lot more emphasis on you can do this, you can do that. You've got the impression that the only reason why you're there is to see if you can get me a job, which I'm
Yes.
pretty sure you're going to off put that person that you're speaking with because they don't want to be there to try to get you a job.
Right. And I say this sometimes, right? And this is like a shock and awe statement, right? If I just walk up to a stranger and say, "Hey, can you give me $120,000, $50,000, $20,000?" A stranger I don't even know, right? Their first option is going to like, "Who are you?" What and no, that rejection is going to come up very quickly. That is essentially when you say, "Do you have a job? Can I
Yeah,
apply? Can you
yeah.
refer me?" It's like, yes, I have access to getting you a job potentially, but if that's like the first, not the first question, but
Mhm.
right, you've already lost.
Yeah. Well, in
And that's
addition,
often
yeah,
yeah.
I mean, and on that note, and probably that individual, I mean, and also the approach itself as to if you're
Mhm,
not, if someone hasn't spoken to you or you haven't spoken to somebody before, and then all of a
mhm.
sudden you have this conversation out of nowhere where
Yeah.
they want to sit down with you, just again, out of nowhere, and you haven't had two or three words with this individual, or maybe you
Mhm.
did in passing, and next thing you know, they want coffee. It's kind of a red flag, right?
Yeah.
You can just kind of tell. So if you can kind of tell, they can kind of tell as well if you're in that
Exactly.
situation.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly. And it's okay. You can't control if you're in that situation or not,
absolutely,
right? One of the key
absolutely.
components that has worked for me is I'll be upfront. Like, hey, just so you know, I'm in the job search.
Mm,
I'm looking for a job,
yep.
but that's not why I wanted to connect with you. I wanted to connect with you because of A, B, C, D, E.
Even the time. So that sounds setting the
Yeah.
boundaries is great. The
Yeah.
timing sounds a little off, right? If I
It
mean,
does.
and again,
Absolutely.
it's a good
Absolutely.
introduction, and you're setting the parameters
Right.
early.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The reason I say this, all right, and the reason it works sometimes, you're already setting it out front, but you're also
Yep.
saying, I saw your value beyond this job, and I'm here to seek your advice, right?
Mm,
Seek your things because this is more important the relationship and your expertise and the value that I can add to you and the value that I want is information, not can I have a job?
yeah,
Right?
yeah,
It's a very fine line, and I
yeah.
don't say do it to every conversation. You have to have that initial base of trust before you can,
That's right.
right?
Yes, yes. I think to your point, the trust issue is key because
Yeah,
people will know more than often than not why you're setting up a meeting based upon the timing of the
right,
meeting, right?
right.
It's just out of the blue is never a good sign more often than not. And it's happened to myself in my day. You know, I mean,
Yeah, me
I've
too.
I've had people reach out to me that I've
Hmm.
never heard from or maybe have
Hmm.
been LinkedIn on occasion
Yeah,
and then asking me, "Hey, can we have a sit down?" And that's when I know I you just get that, you know, the your spidey sense is
something's up.
tingling kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I I will still say I love those reach. The reason I love those is because you saw something, but if it's a generic message of, "Hey, can we sit down and talk?" My first follow-up is, "So what are we talking about?" Right? If it's just a generic message of nothing that you have said about me, you could just copy and paste that to a whole bunch of people,
yeah, that's right,
right? And it is a
that's right,
waste of my time and resources to say yes. So if you are making those outreach, be specific of why you are reaching out
right.
and what is the intent, right? What do you hope to get? That way it's a lot easier for me to screen and say yes or screen and say, I don't think I'm the best person. You may want to talk to Ian,
Yeah,
who's more of what you're looking for.
right,
Right.
right.
But whenever I get those generic messages, I won't even respond. I don't even respond. I'm
There's
like,
no need to.
"Yeah,
There's no need to.
you have done 0 research."
Right. AI has done it for you, or some algorithm has done
Exactly.
it for you, and
Right, right. So that's the job search. A lot of us I don't know if you've done this, but I certainly have. A lot of us, when we're in the job, we're so focused on the job, we forget about networking and building
oh,
relationships.
totally.
Have you done
Totally.
this?
I have, and
Yeah,
I
me too.
can only speak to my last job
Yeah.
and or jobs because it was in the same university, is that
Mhm.
you are so focused on the individuals or you know, I'm focused on my job and I'm focused around making sure the connections I have in the university are sound. So
Yeah.
in case I need to refer students to wherever, then I have a good
Mhm.
contact in department A, B, or C. But to your point, since the blinders are on, you don't really look outward and think
Yeah.
maybe this position isn't forever.
Mhm.
And but I do like but I do have a certain interest in X, for example. Maybe I
Yes.
should reach out to somebody that, shares the same interest outside my place
Yeah.
of work, man, I was
Yeah.
terrible with that. Terrible, terrible.
Yes.
Because at the time, you're not to your point, you're not focusing on something that's maybe down your priority list.
Mhm.
You're focusing on how can I have a good performance in my job to keep my
Yeah.
job,
Yep.
you know?
Yep. Or how you're overworked. And this episode is sponsored by Balanced at Last, my coaching services. That's balanced@last.com. If you are curious about how I can help you, please schedule a free consultation call, a 20-minute call to assess your challenges and ways my services can help you. Mention you are a podcast listener and receive 20% off your coaching services. Offer valid for a limited time. Visit balancedatlast.com or scan the QR code on your screen or click the link in the description below. Thank you for listening. You still have to deliver the same level of work. So you
Yeah,
sacrifice your personal growth, right, to sustain that ever, I guess, never ending tasks,
yeah,
right?
right.
And this is where so many of mid-career professionals fall in, where
Yeah,
I am I don't have time to network. I don't have the energy to network because
yeah,
I'm working 50, 60 hours a week just to make it through, right?
yeah.
And to go out and network. Again, imagine when you're already overwhelmed, right? You have so many other responsibilities and then going into the market, networking market where you know you're probably going to talk to one person that might
Mhm.
sometime be in the same area as same profession, same
Yeah,
interest as you, just by having that vision, you're already exhausted.
yeah.
Just going out to have that type of experience is just harmful. And this is where
It is.
I wish more people would utilize professional organizations, right? So for me, if I belong to the counseling organization or the coaching organization, right? I already know just by plugging myself in there for one networking event per month or 2, 3 months. Even if I go once, I will be talking with people that are in my field, in my realm, at different organizations, different parts of the world, different parts of the country, and so on. But we don't think about that, right? 100, 200,
Yeah,
5,000, the $1,000 dues, whatever it
yeah,
is, to join those professional organization
yep.
is too much.
Or the value isn't seen.
Absolutely. No one sees the value, right? And it's
Yeah.
so critically missed that I want more people engaged in their professional organizations. Again, that engagement looks like subscribing to their newsletter, attending a single event per month.
And you know what? It's interesting. I would challenge that
Yeah.
to say if there's a reason why you don't want to do it, but there is an interest that you have outside of your field,
Yeah.
maybe going into that direction instead, because your
Yes.
opportunity cost is going to be one or the other, right? So in
Exactly.
terms of what if you don't want to do counseling,
Hmm.
but you love to draw,
Yeah.
then you go to maybe some sort of artist convention of some sort, or you go to artist meet up
Absolutely.
somewhere locally that gets your interest in something you want versus the field you're
Yeah.
in. Now,
Yeah.
can that relate somehow? Maybe, right?
Maybe.
But again, from personal experience, what I should have done and what I've done are two different things, right? What I should have
Yes.
done, I mean, did I focus on personal development within a certain field? Yeah, for a while I did. But then I saw the capacity
Hmm.
of learning and I still did it, which
Yeah.
going back, what I should have done
Hmm.
is focus on some or dip into something else, recognizing that I've reached my capacity of understanding of a certain field, and just going to something that I want to discover, something that I've taken some self inventory and I'm like, oh, this is actually not a bad idea, and
Right.
start networking there
Yes.
because I think
I
I hit
love you
saturation
saying that.
point. I think we all hit
You
saturation
do.
point at some point
We
if we're
do.
in a field for so long. I
Right.
mean, you have to hit a
And
saturation.
this is something like love you said that because those that are interested in you don't have to just solely focus on professional, right? For me, I started enjoying golf,
Mm,
recently, a couple of years ago, right? Going into a golf club, that exposed me to different parts of the community, right? That I had no idea,
yeah,
but it's centered around some interest that I have in golf, right? To your point of the
yeah.
arts, we're talking about young professionals first, right? The fresh market approach, you
Mm,
don't know what you don't know because there's so much out there,
yes, that's right.
right? Putting yourself into a very niche pocket early on in your career is not going to be as beneficial because the blinders will be tighter and tighter compared to as you're building out your profession, joining the professional organization, and then as you're building out your other interests, for example, art, also going to an art convention or
Mm,
something.
mhm,
And then you can start seeing how you can bridge those two. So, for
yeah,
example, when I was in the counseling world, I was working with veterans, and one of the key components of that was helping veterans express their emotions as well. In general, one-on-one counseling wasn't as effective. Then I brought in art,
mm,
like art therapy. I want you to just think about frustration, think about happiness, think about whatever, and just put colors on the paper. Right? That broke down so many things,
right.
barriers, right? So that's when you were talking about art, I was like, "Oh my gosh, I forgot about this." Right? Again, wherever you are, you can provide value and also receive value. You have to be, to Ian's point of, have that recognition that, "Hey, I'm interested in art. Let me go into that."
Right, right. Let me kinda go back to something here real fast. The networking versus
Yeah.
gambling situation.
Mhm,
In a way, the networking is kind of like thoughtful gambling
mhm,
because you aren't guaranteed you're going to, I guess, win, so to speak. However, at least you're doing the work to network, right? At least
mm,
you're trying. And then maybe it
mhm,
won't be, the hopeful outcome that this person is going to help me get a job. Well, maybe
mm,
not. But if you're there to network and make a connection, then there's a really good chance that person is going to help you with another step
mhm.
as to networking or finding somebody that might help you or
Yeah,
giving you an idea they haven't thought of before
yeah.
to look to get a job. Or if you're not looking for a job, maybe this person is a good networking individual just as a whole.
Yes, yes.
So I think that when we say, networking versus gambling,
Mhm.
I think that maybe the gamble is you don't network. Maybe the gamble is you're trying to get the next job without networking.
Right.
I mean,
The gambling part is, you're
yeah,
applying. I don't know if there's echo. I'll just,
yeah.
keep repeating it. Um,
Cast the net
y-
wide and see what
yeah,
happens.
because so many people when they're in the job search, they're just applying and
Mhm.
hoping for the best, essentially gamble. It's like,
Right.
I hope I get this,
Yeah.
right? I hope my number comes up. I hope, right? Where, to your point, Ian, networking is, yes, there's going to be gambles, but it's such a smaller pool because you're
Yeah.
connecting with the person, which allows them to amplify, right, where you are and increase your chances of finding another person to connect with
Right.
that is more aligned to help you. Statistics show like almost 70% of jobs are through the second degree connection rather
Mm,
than primary connection, right? So people often forget the amplifying effect of connecting and building a
right.
relationship with
Right.
with the friend. Because if I don't know somebody, but Ian knows somebody that's at the company, right? Ian can say, I can tell Ian, I know you know somebody at this company. Can you help person
Yeah.
X,
Right.
right?
Right.
I have vetted person X and the relationship between Ian and I, right, is strong enough where it's like, okay, if Sim's vetting for person X,
Hmm.
probably worth, you know, again, that voucher, we're filtering it down. Then there's the connectors, right? They might know a whole bunch of people because they just love going into the farmers market of networking and just connecting with people.
Right.
There's so many of them. It's like,
Yes, there are.
so it might be like, hey, I don't know the right person, but you definitely need to talk to person Y,
Right.
right? Then it's a
Yeah.
bridge.
Yeah.
It's a bridge. And then the last type of person can be essentially a mentor. becoming a mentor in your situation, whatever that looks like. And this applies not to just professionals that are just starting out, to the C-suite,
Mm,
because oftentimes we forget that once you start advancing in your career into the executive side, it becomes smaller and smaller. It's people reaching out to you rather than you reaching out to who you want.
yeah. The responsibilities have changed, and also
Yeah.
when it comes to networking, I think one of the things maybe when it has that negative impact is
Mhm.
because many people are introverts. And so the
Yeah.
notion of networking is, oh my gosh, I have to truly get out of my comfort zone to go and to do something I don't want to do with
Mhm.
added stress of a job I have to get. And,
Yeah.
and it's just, and I can, again, I've been there in terms of that's not me, right? That's not me, the person who
Right.
goes because I don't want to be in a
Yes.
room with a bunch of other people I don't know to try to get a job.
Absolutely.
It's
Yeah. And this is where well, let's talk to all the introverts out there. All right. I am not one.
Oh, I'm totally one. I'm totally one, and many people are too. Many people, have admitted to being introverts.
Yeah.
So maybe job
My
extroverts, but personality introverts,
right. Absolutely. Right. For me, I have the best conversations with introverts.
Mhm.
Like, hands down, the inquisitive nature of an introvert,
Right.
right? You cut through the surface and then you go deep is incredibly powerful. In the world of technology, right? Yes, us extroverts, we love to go to a place and talk to people, right? As introverts, you can talk to anybody on this device,
Mhm.
make comments on people's content that
Yeah,
you have thought took the time to reflect and said, you know what? I have this perspective to share, right? When you're doing this on LinkedIn, your name is coming up.
yes,
People are seeing what value, what insights you're adding to the conversation. You have the flexibility to engage or disengage when needed,
that's right.
right? It's asynchronous. You don't have to be in
Yeah,
that dialogue. And when you are ready, right, you can vet the person via chats. When you are ready, you can reach out to say, like, hey, I've been really enjoying our chats.
right.
Would it be okay if we had a phone call or a virtual call?
Mhm.
Again, doing this without going out of that
Yes.
comfort zone, right? You have this now, back 20 years ago, not so much,
Sure, sure, and
right?
imagine
But
being the introvert,
yeah.
and if you have this networking event,
Mm,
how much stress you're putting on yourself because
yes.
you're thinking, "Oh gosh, this event is coming up soon. I have to do a numerous line item of events just to get up
Yeah.
to that point that I want to go to a
Yeah.
networking event."
Yeah.
So that in itself is can be challenging.
It is. It
But
is.
to your point of
And
online, you can put it in the ball is in your court and on your own
right.
timeline, which is a huge advantage.
It is. It is. And this is something like I want to share. Like us extroverts, we also get tired too,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
We also can only extend ourselves so much before we need
Yeah.
our alone time to recharge. And the difference for many of the extroverts is we're okay getting those rejections and saying, hearing no's a lot easier because we've built up the muscle to just keep approaching, right? Keep having these conversations where the introverts that I've worked with, it is so calculated to engage with people.
Yes.
Having that disconnection, right? Broken
Oh,
connection can be really tough,
sure. Sure. Oh, yeah, and
right?
then there's that domino effect of if
Mhm.
there's disconnection, if you don't hear back from this individual, just if you're
Yeah,
ghosted or ghostlighted, I mean, or ghosted, sorry, and if the result didn't go your way,
yes,
then it's a domino effect of decreased self-worth. Why am I doing
yeah,
all this? It's not
yeah.
worth it,
Mhm.
a possible
This
spiral
doesn't
effect.
work, right? This doesn't work, and so on. And from the extrovert side, right? We'll message 20 people, 100 people, and be like, okay,
Yep.
20 people said no. All right. But our investment to those outreach, right, was not as thought of,
Yeah.
thought through, invested as the introvert that's reaching out to 20 people, 30 people.
Yes.
So that emotional disconnect is something that can help in situations where rejection or ghosting is a reality. But that's a healthy disconnect that we need to start establishing, because a rejection or a ghosting is not a reflection on you.
Right.
It is a reflection on the person and where they are in that situation.
Right. Yes.
Right. And to really um, disassociate yourself from that, I am what the result is, it's not sustainable.
Right. At the same time, though, that can be the reality.
Absolutely.
So if the outcome that you want is a job, obviously that you feel that maybe a positive network or a positive
Mhm.
connection will equal getting a job. And
Yeah.
reality is it's not that simple. It's not that direct of a
Right.
pathway. But that being said, reality and the reality of the outside versus the reality of your inside are two different
Yes.
realities, right?
It is.
So if I'm in my head, I'm thinking, look, I put in so much time into these 10 or 20 connections. 5 have responded. And of those 5, I'm not getting a lot of feedback. I'm not getting a lot of communication. Then you're like, "Ugh, now I have to start all over again. Now I have to find
Yes.
more connections. And it can be draining. So the networking
Yeah.
component can be very challenging internally because it
Absolutely.
may not go the way you want it to.
Mhm.
Then again, you take it personally,
Yeah.
and that's challenging, right? That's a very
Yeah. It
challenging fact to
is.
have.
It absolutely is. And it's challenging for not just introverts, extroverts as
Oh,
well,
totally,
right? Rejection still hurt. It
totally,
just hurts at a different level.
yeah,
And we can have this conversation for another podcast episode,
yeah,
because I think it's crucial to deepen the impact of networking and also the consequences of networking and the
mm,
barriers to networking. Um, in this episode, we really wanted to talk about why networking is a positive for early career, and why in mid career we often forget,
right,
right? Because we're so busy, we're so overwhelmed with our job that we don't engage in activities that's going to give us different perspectives, connect us with
yeah,
others parts of our interest,
yeah,
right? And maybe even a way out when there's a promotion coming up, there's new
yeah, absolutely,
opportunities coming up, right? And of course, the executive side where it can feel like an isolated space. And how do you really connect on different hobbies? We didn't really talk
yes,
about that,
yeah,
but to connect on hobbies. This is this is why so many executives play
yeah,
golf,
right,
right?
absolutely. It's the
Or
importance of
pickleball
networking.
these days.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
how many connections have been made because people are golfing and, I
Hmm.
mean, numerous professions that they do that because they enjoy doing it and deals get
Yeah,
done on the golf
it does.
course,
It does. It
you
does.
know?
Not the running course, sadly, because you're out of breath.
It's kinda rough.
I don't know. I haven't run.
I would really hope I could make more connections while I'm running, but you have to do it
Yeah.
either before or after. You can't do it during.
Right.
It's really
Yeah.
challenging. It's
Probably
really challenging.
before. I'm thinking before you say, "Hey, how's it
Before
going?
is
Hopefully I
totally
can keep up. Hopefully you can keep up."
I
Because at the end,
promise you. Yeah, do it before because you look a lot better and you smell a lot better and you feel a lot better. Afterwards, you are a hot
yes,
mess. So make the
yes,
connections before, make the networking before you start running. Note,
that's
note
right.
note to the
See,
world on that.
we're here to help.
Yes,
Oh
totally.
my gosh.
So there's positives
Yeah,
in networking. I apologize. I
that's
turned it the
right.
wrong direction. Yes,
No,
there's a lot of
there's no
positives
wrong
in networking.
direction.
Absolutely.
There's directions.
Yes.
Okay. Any last words before we end the episode?
I think that the importance of networking is definitely there and to do your best. And at least you're putting yourself out there when you network, and that's all you can do.
That's all we can do.
Yeah.
I will say it can feel like a dirty word, and I blame the media for just focusing on that one aspect of 1,000 people and you're supposed to go in.
Yeah.
Networking is about building that relationship and having those conversation that takes it out of the transaction of give and take to I care about what you're doing. I care about what you do and how can I benefit you and how can we build a
Right.
community. So thank you for joining us in this episode.
Thanks. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for joining us and being part of the conversation. We hope this episode has given you some insight on your journey to a more balanced and fulfilling career. Please find Beyond the 9 to 5, a balanced career on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll be back in 2 weeks with a new episode. Thank you for joining us.